House Democrats are being slammed for what critics are calling a one-sided impeachment against President Trump. One America's Rion sits down with Academy Award-winning actor and activist Jon Voight for part 2 of that interview. Take a look.
We return to our sit-down with Jon Voight, Academy Award-winning actor and conservative activist who, through what some call his Reagan-esque messages to America, has accumulated millions of views in his calls to support the president, the truth, and to fight the left's villainy against God, family, and country.
There is a God. There is a truth. This left wing lacks truth. The evil is trying to win. This is a battle for truths.
Were you always a conservative? Where do your values come from?
In the 60s, my political stances were kind of left-leaning, and I differed with my parents probably a little bit, but we were a close family, you know, and I'm so grateful for that. And families today are, you know, they send their children out to school and the children come back with a whole bunch of ideas against family. So that didn't quite happen to me, thank God, because my family was really strong folks.
The turning point, says Voight, took root in the Vietnam War. Despite having protested the war himself, the left's reaction to the pullout gave him pause.
And they took that moment as a celebration. And I took it, I was heartsick from it, all the suffering that was caused by that the Americans pulled out and then didn't follow through on the promises made in the peace arrangement with South Vietnam. And so anyway, so certain things came into focus for me. And it wasn't easy, you know, because the programming is very deep. And the programming comes from a lot of different places. It came from communist Russia. It came from the Frankfurt School coming in during the 60s. Real attacks on America. And those forces remained and are bearing fruit today to take over our universities in terms of what they're teaching our kids.
Voight says the silver lining is that the left's violence and propaganda are not going unnoticed by the American people. The Democrats' dearth of leadership is under a national spotlight for all to see.
They have a great aptitude for destruction. And you can see that now on the left. They're very good at destroying, you know. And they have no compass because they're godless. These people have no moral compass, so they don't care what they do. And they're trying to bring down this system with nothing to replace it with. As you can see with the Democrat Party, if you listen to them for any length of time, you realize they have nothing to offer except destruction.
Voight adds the left is unable to cope in the face of one of the most transparent presidencies we have ever had. This inability to cope manifests itself in groups like Antifa.
You look back at the 60s and you look at a movement like Antifa. What is your take on it?
Well, they're more thugs. They're a rougher crowd.
A crowd manipulated, says Voight, by modern-day propaganda.
Well, there are lies now afoot, trying to destroy this president. My mother used to say, that's radically wrong. These people should be spanked. She would say, that's what I think too. They're programmed, you know, they're being told this and that, and it's based on lies. Really, they become a part of the destructive force, but they don't know it, you know, they're naive to it. Manchurian Candidate, we made 2 movies on the Manchurian Candidate, you know, this idea. Propaganda is as dangerous as bullets, maybe more dangerous. Look at what they did to the Jewish people in World War II. It was all propaganda, it was all lies to justify the murdering of Jewish people. I'm glad they had this impeachment inquiry because it exposes all this villainy. You can see it. They can see the liars and the posturing and the baloney, do you know? And then they see the righteous stand up against it. So in a way, it's a teaching tool, do you see?
Voight adds, the fight to defend this presidency will mean war, both strategically and spiritually.
He's quite remarkable that he says so many things every day. And he always knows where the pieces are on the chessboard. And he's thinking way ahead. People say, well, he doesn't talk this or that way, the way he do. I said, well, you know, if you talk to a person in the middle of a game, let's say a football game or a tennis match or whatever it is, and you talk to them while they're in the game, you'll get short sentences and very quick responses and like that. And it's almost like that. He's in the game.
As House Democrats send their impeachment vote to the Senate, Voight says truth will prevail, and Democrats have only exposed their villainy and flaunted their extraordinary talent for destruction. Chanel Rion, One American News, Washington.
Want to see more videos like this? Click on the link below and subscribe to One American News on YouTube, and call your cable provider and kindly demand that One American News is added to your lineup. Call and subscribe today.